You're watching the NJSIAA on News 12 Varsity as we welcome you to Franklin Township and Rutgers Prep for the South Jersey non-public B semifinals. It pits our two top teams in our Tri-State Top 20 as St. Rose, number 2, travels to take on number 1, Rutgers Prep. Hello everyone, welcome. I'm David Resnick, Greg Lerner to join us shortly. If you look at the bracket, it's 2 versus 6, but in terms of the Tri-State, we think this is 1 versus 2. St. Rose, the champions from the Shore Conference, while Rutgers Prep, they're Somerset County champs, and the Argonauts are the defending champions in non-public B. Let's introduce you to a pair of players that will impact today's outcome. As for St. Rose, Michaela Markham, a junior bound for St. John's, is a dynamic point guard that can shift gears on the fly. She averages better than 11 points per game and nearly 5 assists. As for Rutgers Prep, Leilani Correa, the sophomore, is having a breakout season. Her diverse attacks to the rim, tough to stand up with, as she's averaging more than 12 points per contest. It's a semifinal matchup in South Jersey worthy of a state tournament game. St. Rose and Rutgers Prep battle for the chance to move on to the South Jersey Finals next.
On March 12th, starting at 11 a.m., watch the best of Long Island high school basketball battle for the right to be called champions. Live on Channel 14. This doubleheader begins at 11 a.m. with the Class A Finals, followed by the Class AA Finals at 1:30 p.m. Watch the best of Long Island high school basketball live on the big screen on Optimum Channel, Channel 14.
With Greg Lerner, David Resnick, Josh Noble, our producer. Rutgers Prep in the white, St. Rose in the purple trim with golds. Last year, Rutgers Prep won in the sectional final. The year before, it was a semifinal victory for St. Rose. Purple Roses have the basketball after the early turnover.
Hello, David.
Good to see you, Greg.
How are you, pal?
This has to be the type of matchup that really gets your juices flowing.
Absolutely. You're talking about a Rutgers Prep team that assumed the #1 ranking back in January when it beat Manasquan, and St. Rose, who started the year at number 2, fell as low as number 3 when it lost to Manasquan, then went back up to 2 when it beat Squan in the Shore Conference Final. So right now, arguably the 2 best teams in the state of New Jersey squaring off.
Stolen away by Correa. Here's Leilani Correa, coast to coast. Leilani Correa averaging 12 points per game. A breakout campaign for her in just her 12th grade year.
Unbelievable body control for a sophomore. Great length, great anticipation, incredible intellect on the court. Sky is the limit for Leilani. She's been a huge boon for the Argonauts this year.
Some have characterized this matchup of the outside shooting of St. Rose against the length of Rutgers Prep. Is there more to it than that?
I think there is more to it than that. I think you got to talk about the defense of both of them. You're seeing a lot of turnovers here early. That's caused by teams that can recover on defense, get back. You think you got something going on a transition, before you know it, they're back and recovered, and you don't. Nice
cut on the feed to Loro, but she couldn't finish as Thomas tried to set her up. It's 2-0 Rutgers Prep, minute 15 gone by, into a capacity gymnasium. They sold 470 tickets, throw in a few extra media members and Rutgers Prep personnel, and we're packed here in Franklin Township. On the baseline, Correa's got all 4. Rutgers Prep leads 4-0.
And the assist there by Madison Stanley, the senior.
Dabney the block, and then the foul committed by Markham, who got rejected.
Right there in a nutshell is the difference between Rutgers Prep and what St. Rose has seen from everybody else this year. Markham is a wizard at getting to the basket off the dribble. And when she gets to a certain point there, she's used to having clean access to the rim. Not tonight with kids like Dabney who can recover, who have length, who have speed of equal proportion, and they can defend so well. That's why Rutgers Prep is the #1 team in the state. They just don't have any flaws. They are so strong. And that's being said, that's without Shawnee Knight at the point, who's been hurt since that Manasquan game. And now they're not playing without Jasmine Lyles tonight either.
Correa on the reset. And Redden up top. She'll fire from straight away off target. Battle for the rebound is taken by Markham. And the Purple Roses control. Ellen Stoll, a touch here for Thomas. Thomas driving, and another rejection by this Rutgers Prep defense.
You're getting to see a different element to Gabby Redden real early here. Number 25, Division I player, and now she's guarding a kid like Lucy Thomas, who can take you outside, who wants to take you outside, and Gabby is willing to come out and defend. She's like, bring it on. I'll defend you whether you're 20 feet out, whether you're 3 feet out. I'm going to be here all day. That's what type of competitor Gabby Redden is.
Kick out for three, Laurel, back of the iron. Back tap out to Markham. Catch and shoot, another deflection. Cannot be kept in. And the ball is back to the Argonauts.
You know, we mentioned the Shawnee Knight injury earlier, David. It's real interesting. When she went down, a lot of people thought that was the end of the line for Rutgers Prep. They're losing their playmaker. And instead, they've gotten, I don't want to say they've gotten better, but they've adjusted, they've adapted, they've become different. They have this amoeba effect about them, and they are no worse for the wear. You're talking about losing one of the best players in the state of New Jersey on the point, and yet they obviously are bigger with Tibbet now into the starting rotation. But Leilani Correa can play the play the guard spot.
Nice drive to the basket for Jen Lauro, who gives St. Rose its first 2 points. And despite a slow start, it's just a 2-point game, 4-2 in favor of the Argonauts. So how have they filled that point guard role without Knight?
Well, you know, Olivia Dabney can play that position. Madison Stanley is so versatile in that regard. Leilani Correa, listen, that's why Rutgers Prep is who they are, Dave, because they play that positionless. You know, me and Kevin always used to talk about positionless basketball last year. That's kind of what Rutgers Prep is to a degree. You'll watch them interchange. They can all handle the basketball. They all have great vision. They can all shoot. They can all defend. And that's why every one of those players is invaluable in that starting five. You can't say one is better than the other because they come together as that fist and then they punch you right in the mouth because that's how unified they are.
Here's the steal, Dabney. 6-2 in favor of the Argonauts. Their defense has led to offense here in the first quarter. Markham turns the corner. Floater no good. Correa racing up the floor. Rejection inside and a foul. Marsicano, bound for Columbia, called for the harm.
So you would say I'm literally, what, maybe less than a foot away from you, right?
I would agree.
I can't hear a word you're saying. That's how loud that's suited by. From Rutgers Prep is to the left.
You're better off for it. We are also positioned right next to the Argonaut supporters, who, if their counterparts on the floor weren't pumped for this game, they have certainly injected some energy into this gym. Stole another rejection. The Argonauts defensively swatting everything in sight.
So long, so defensively aggressive because they can make those type of plays with the confidence. that their length is going to deny the lower portion of their body to make contact. Make a clean block from behind. Listen, I see enough girls basketball to know that when I watch girls block a shot from behind, I see the whistle get blown quite a bit. When you can make plays like that, it's because of your length and your smarts.
St. Rose on the road for the second week in a row. 2:40 to go, first quarter. 8-2 is the lead for Rutgers Prep. Defense, the story from the Argonauts, the story. St. Rose has been one and done, and when they've been able to get a shot off, a number of them have been blocked. Stanley is bound for Fairleigh Dickinson. Her entry pass is ripped away by Thomas. Markham lets it fly, off target. Offensive rebound, Thomas with the left hand. Timeout, Joe Whalen. 8-4 in favor of the Argonauts as they've gotten off to a good start on their home floor.
Great turnout by the Rutgers Prep student body here to our left. I think that's awesome. You see a lot of people, a lot of student bodies turn out for boys' games. Certain girls' programs kind of get that respect. Certain girls' programs, I'm perplexed as to why they don't get that kind of respect. So it's refreshing to see the number one team in the state getting its proper due from the student body here. So I salute the Argonaut student body for coming out and supporting their team the way that they have today.
A big game is a big game, no matter what the sport, right?
I agree 100%. But I think that some people tend to lose sight of that sometimes. And it's obvious that the student body here has come to appreciate what Mary Klinger and her team have accomplished, not just this year, but over the course of time. It's one of the most respected programs in the state of New Jersey on an annual basis.
Extra pass inside. Stanley couldn't hit. Offensive rebound as it's kicked out to Brooke Peichel. Another St. Rose foul out of the timeout. It's against Markham. That's her second. Stanley finishes this time 10-4 Argonauts. Thomas defended well. Tibbett gave up 0 ground. Stanley baseline, no. Cleared away by Lucy Thomas. Final minute, first quarter. Rutgers Prep leading wire to wire, up by 6. Rutgers taking down Gill St. Bernard's in the first round of the playoffs after beating the Knights in the Somerset County Championship, in which they won for the 3rd straight year. And then Wildwood, the opponent, the Argonauts won by 50. 40 seconds to go. Fadeaway shot off target. Ball batted around and back out to Dabney. Now it's Peichel. Half minute to go. Peichel baseline. Slicing in for 2. Perfect spot for Leilani Correa, who has 6 in the opening quarter.
Unselfish basketball at its finest.
Catch and shoot, stall, denied.
Did you get your invitation, Dave, to the block party that Rutgers Prep is throwing right now? Was that 4 or 5 right now?
It's every other possession at this point. 9 seconds to go. Stahl driving in, up with the left hand, no. Dabney got fouled, shooting a 3. Rare to see a call with the quarter expired, but Dabney got hacked and has a chance to add to the 12-4 lead. A great quarter for the Argonauts, just got better by 2 points. 14-4. Olivia Dabney making 2 of 3. And the Argonauts, the #1 team in the Tri-State, with the first quarter lead in the South Jersey non-public B semifinal on News 12 Varsity.
On March 11th, starting at 5 p.m., watch the best of New Jersey high school basketball battle for the right to be called champions, live on Channel 14.
At the buzzer, good!
This doubleheader begins at 5 p.m. with the non-public B finals, followed by the non-public A finals at 7 p.m. Watch the best of New Jersey high school basketball live on the big screen on Optimum Channel, Channel 14.
Back for the second quarter, Rutgers Prep 14-4 over St. Rose. The home Argonauts, the #1 team in our Tri-State Top 20. I'm David Resnick. Pleasure to be joined by New Jersey and Tri-State girls basketball analyst Greg Lerner, expert, that was the name I was looking for, and Josh Noble, our producer, here at Rutgers Prep for the semifinals in South Jersey non-public B. Markham set it up for Marsicano.
That might be one of the hints at what St. Rose has to do to reverse their fortunes right now, is literally reverse the basketball. Markham comes in on the penetration to the baseline, gets cut off by Dabney, has the wherewithal to reverse the ball, kick it back out to Lovin Marsicano to knock down that jumper. I think that a little misdirection might serve St. Rose well.
Your preview for this game was unique in the sense that it gave us a different type of perspective. And when you described Markham as a shifty guard that can change gears, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I think you nailed her perfectly in the way that she controls the game with tempo.
Well, I appreciate that, but you know, it's one of those things where anybody that's seen her would know it. That's what her whole thing is.
Kiara Tibbett underneath. Back to a 10-point lead for the Argonauts. Markham driving in, again a rejection. Dabney swats it away. Correa pushing. Tibbett lines it up, no. Inside position for Gabrielle Redden, and she goes to the line.
So we look at it this way. We are 9 minutes into this game so far. I mentioned the word flawless when I talked about Rutgers Prep and that they border on that. You've watched in this first 9 minutes. They are basically flawless in what they're doing. They're defending outstanding in terms of cutting people off to the basket, and if they get by them, they're compensating by making blocks. They're doing incredible work on the offensive glass, keeping possessions alive, and when they do get those offensive rebounds, Dave, they're making it sting against St. Rose.
18-6, largest lead for the Argonauts. Marsicano off target. Finally had a decently open look and couldn't deliver. Correa, no. Tibbett, offensive glass, and another foul as the Argonauts are getting everything they want offensively.
So now I had the good fortune of not having a game in New Jersey yesterday. So I took a couple minutes, threw on news12varsity.com, watched yourself and Kevin Devaney call the Ossining Albertus Magnus game. And the one thing I noted in that game, like Kayla Harris was just cleaning the offensive glass. And now for the second day in a row, Dave, you're getting to partake of watching somebody really illuminate what it means to clean the offensive glass and magnify what you can reap when you do it.
And do it with such skill that it's not just a rebound, but it's typically 2 points as well.
Exactly right. You know, and the added bonus, let me tell you something, putbacks are great. But if I can get 2 at the foul line and pin somebody with a foul, to me, that's what you're really looking for.
Markham off the dribble. Thanks for your viewership, by the way.
Oh, come on. I watched that game. I watched a little bit of the Irvington, the Eastchester game.
No wonder our numbers were record-setting yesterday.
It was because you had good games and you had good guys on the call. Today, the numbers plummet because you got this guy with you.
Well, I just don't know if KDJ is going to reciprocate. I think that's the bigger issue.
Devaney, man.
Thomas can't convert. Both teams playing hard. And that's part of what you love, Greg. High-intensity atmosphere and such intensity on the floor as well.
Gotta love it, man. You know, we're talking about the 1 and 2 teams in the tri-state. Forget what the seeds tell you. You know, St. Rose being a 6 seed here, that's only based on the power points and the schedule that they have to play within their division of the Shore Conference. Anybody that's seen St. Rose knew they were as good as anybody in the state of New Jersey. So that 6 seed means little. But the one thing about it is it winds up putting you here in this game as opposed to maybe at home.
Markham knocks down a 3. St. Rose had to beat Rumson, Fairhaven, Manasquan, and St. John Vianney, the defending TOC champion, to win that Shore Conference title. Back to a 10-point game after Markham connected for her first points. 19-9's the score. 5 minutes to go, first half. Swish for Redden. She's pounding the Purple Roses inside, and now she adds a 17-footer.
Becomes unfair when you got your big pivot player that's going outside.
Thomas tried to answer back in a similar fashion. It's in and out.
Couple rebounds there, both ends of the floor so far from Madison Stanley, and you're getting to see, in my opinion, one of the most underappreciated players in the state of New Jersey, Madison Stanley. She is the jack of all trades. Cleans the glass, can score, can defend, can play multiple positions because she's got great size and length. I don't know if people really do fully appreciate how good Madison Stanley is and how valuable she is to the Argonauts.
Leilani Correa is stepping up to the line. .4:14 to go. In your preview, again, going back to it, I don't know how many times going down to the well I can go on one preview, but I'm going to try. Talked about her breakout campaign. In what way do you mean?
Just being assertive. This is a team that, when you look at Gabby Redden, Olivia Dabney, Madison Stanley, seniors, and she's a sophomore, who in that Manasquan game, and in every game that if me and you sat down and looked at the schedule and said, well, that's a big game. Manasquan's a big game. Franklin's a big game. Gil St. Bernard's in the county final. That's a big game. She's had like monster games in those games, like 20 points, 8, 9 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists across the board. And to me, that's like letting you know that, you know what, she wants the ball in these big games. She's embracing it. And I mean, you look at her, she passes the eye test. She's got a great length to her, but I love the way she controls her body. When she makes a decision to go to the rack, Dave, she knows how to get her body to the rim to finish regardless of what's in her way.
Foul there called against Rutgers Prep on the inbound, and now they steal it away for Dabney. One of 3 1,000-point scorers in the starting lineup for the Argonauts. Battling her way inside, Redden. We saw the range and now the power. That is unfair.
So strong, again, and when she puts her mind to where she's going, God bless who's ever standing in her way.
I'm glad to be in the corner. 24-9. Markham pump fakes on the kick out. 3 is too strong for Stoll. Marcicano, but an offensive rebound.
You know, you're seeing uncharacteristic touch from St. Rose in terms of how badly they're missing these shots. That's credit to Rutgers Prep. That's kids who are closing out defensively, challenging every shot, and making you understand if you're putting a ball up, it's going to be with me in your face.
Marcicano misses again. This time, Redden clears the defensive glass. 24-9, 2:40 remaining.
And, you know, Dave, to be fair, I think we should mention, this isn't the final. You know, there's another game going on the other side of the bracket with the #1 seed in it, which is the Patrick School, who Rutgers Prep has already played. Gabby Redden again.
Pick and roll. 8 points for Redden. A 4-year starter off to Marist. And her name getting chanted here at Rutgers Prep as the Argonauts lead by 17. Markham has been the only highlight so far for St. Rose. Another crucial three. Inadvertent whistle.
St. Rose needs stops now, you know. Again, this is one of those things that we talk about during the course of the season when you're at these games. You're looking at a 14-point deficit with 2 minutes to go. I think if they can get it in the neighborhood of 10 by halftime, at least they have that perception going into the locker room. Like, that's a manageable deficit that we might be able to overcome, especially if we start knocking down a couple threes. But that's not going to happen when you let them get second chances.
Redden wasn't there underneath. Stanley says, I've got your back. 26-14. Thomas right to the rim. (28-16) score correction on the board. Didn't make sense when I said the score after the last Rutgers Prep basket, but I think we're all settled at 28-16. Redden, too much inside. 10 points, all in the second quarter for the senior. Under a minute to go. Thomas, quick twitch. No good. And there's Pendergrass with a rare offensive rebound for the Purple Roses.
That is one of the fortes of Alex Pendergrass, is just her quickness on the glass to get in a position to beat you to a rebound. You might feel like you have her blocked out, but when it comes to Alex Pendergrass, there is no definition of blocking her out. She's that athletic. She's got incredible spring. I've said it all season. It warms my heart that she's playing in this game because she's been so unfortunate in some of the injuries she's incurred over her career. So to be able to play in this game, to play a full season, regardless of the outcome today, I'm happy for Alex Pendergrass.
Here's Peichel, 24 seconds to go. Stanley driving, draws a crowd, dumps it inside to the cutting Gabrielle Redden. 12 second quarter points.
18-point lead for Rutgers Prep, and they're doing it methodically, and another turnover.
Up ahead, Dabney, ahead of the field for the lay-in. At the end of the half, it's off the rim. What a first 16 minutes for Rutgers Prep, the #1 team in the Tri-State. Greg, you said for St. Rose, try to cut it to 10. Argonauts doubling that margin up 20.
No, you can't turn it over against them because it's their speed, it's their length. You see a turnover like that just inside of midcourt, and in a blink of an eye, it's 3 strides, and Olivia Dabney is to the rim to finish. Rutgers Prep magnifies your mistakes, and then they just pick them like a scab, and they open it up, and before you know it, you're looking at a 20-point lead. And to hold St. Rose to 14 points and a half, that's doing some work, Dave.
We'll see if Joe Whalen and company has any halftime Band-Aids to try to shore things up as Rutgers Prep with a 34-14 lead over St. Rose and a battle of our top two teams in our Tri-State Top 20. Second half straight ahead on News 12 Varsity.
On March 12th, starting at 11 a.m., watch the best of Long Island high school basketball battle for the right to be called champions. Live on Channel 14. This doubleheader begins at 11 a.m. with the Class A Finals, followed by the Class AA Finals at 1:30 p.m. Watch the best of Long Island high school basketball live on the big screen on Optimum Channel, Channel 14.
(34-14). Welcome back to Rutgers Prep, the number one team in the Tri-State, with a 34-14 lead over St. Rose. It got down to a 12-point game, then the Argonauts went on the run. If you had the attention of the Purple Roses during halftime, what are you telling them in the locker room?
A, we got to start boxing out on the defensive side. B, maybe we start attacking the basket a little bit more. C, maybe we get in foul trouble. But right now, St. Rose is having a hard time trying to figure out where they're going to get their offense from. They're being closed out on the perimeter, being denied to the basket. And you know, at the end of this whole thing, it might be one of those nights where you just tip your cap to a better team, because I feel like Rutgers Prep has taken everything that St. Rose wants and basically stripped it off the table right now.
With Greg Lerner, David Resnick, Josh Noble, our producer. Marsicano to the line, a junior bound for Columbia. And first-year head coach Sarah Griffith. 20-point lead in favor of Rutgers Prep. They are the defending champs in non-public B. And consecutive fouls here called against Stanley.
But to go back to your question from a second ago, I think what Joe Whalen really has to emphasize to his kids is, like, you know, we're in this game for a reason. We've overcome adversity. Listen, against Gloucester Catholic last week in the game prior to this one, they were down, I believe, 10-0, maybe 12-0, and they came back and won that game on the road in Gloucester. So that, I mean, that's no easy task to accomplish, going down South Jersey and winning that game. But it's going to start with having to make some buckets and not allowing runouts.
Redden leaks out, misses the layup. She was tremendous in the second quarter with 12 points. Rare miscue for the Argonauts as they built a 20-point lead. First couple possessions down the floor, Markham is off ball as Thomas travels. Markham had 6 in the first half, and despite her shot being blocked on a number of occasions, she seemed to be the only one comfortable against the pressure.
Yeah, I think you have to have that type of memory where you hit the delete button. You know, you get a shot blocked, it happens, it's basketball. Doesn't mean you're going to crawl up into a shell like a turtle and not shoot anymore. You've got to be aggressive, because if you're not, you're taking yourself out of the mix.
Thomas, no good, gets her own miss. Drives it aggressively to the hoop and comes up short. Backdoor Correa recovers to take it off the bounce. Timeout taken by Rutgers Prep, 30-second timeout. As the Argonauts talk it over. We've had no scoring in the second half. 34-14, the lead for the Argonauts.
It's a great timeout right there by a veteran coach. Hey, listen, it's a 20-point game, okay? But she gets a sense of, you know what? I feel like our half-court offense is a little bit off track right now. So let's see if we can get it back on track. Let's get it settled in. let's not get frivolous when we have runouts like that one. I mean, everybody's going to miss a shot every once in a while, and obviously Gabby Redden does not want to blow a breakaway layup by any stretch. But in these type of games, when you're given the golden opportunity, you've got to cash it in, because if you don't, you're playing at another level right now where somebody can make you pay. And the other thing is this too, Dave. I'm sure she's telling you, do not count St. Rose out. I don't care if they're down 20 or 30 with 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. We got to play to the end.
Peichel is in for Stanley after picking up those fouls early here in the third quarter. Correa off target. Thomas the rebounds. Kick out for three. Jen Loro knocks it down. 17-point game. Tibbet traveled. South Jersey non-public B semifinal. The winner moves on to face either the Patrick School or Holy Spirit in the South final. Loro wanted 3 more. Stole the backside rebound. Quick trigger, Thomas. That's short. Defensive rebound by a swooping Correa. She's pushing the pace. Contact, no call. Markham pushing the other way. Stoll. Back of the iron 3. Tracks down her own miss. Marcicano fires from the outside, and the poor shooting for the Purple Roses continues. They're open, but it's frantic.
Well, you know, St. Rose, and Joe Whalen will be the first one to tell you, he gives his kids the green light to fire from distance. No shot is a bad shot. And the catch is that it almost becomes intoxicating to keep firing up threes, because you're thinking, well, why am I going to penetrate and get a 2 when I can shoot from out here and wipe 3 points off the board? I mean, I stink at mathematics, but I get what the allure is. But right now, if you can attack the basket, you'll find out that maybe you'll open up the perimeter a little bit more to have even cleaner looks at the rim.
Marcicano whips it around, stolen away. Transition, Correa, 1-on-3. Another transition layup that's missed. The other way for St. Rose with under 4 to go in the third. Good look inside, Stoll to Marcicano. 15-point game. Purple Roses have scored the only 5 points of the third. We're at capacity at Rutgers Prep. Rutgers Prep maintains the ball.
I think the fans are into it. Even a 15-point game, and both fan bases boisterous about the call.
We just went from a 3-person crew to about a 25-person crew in stripes.
That's right.
Stolen away, Marcicano up the floor. Seven straight for the Purple Roses. Inside Redden.
Great hands by Gabby and a great piece of recognition by Olivia Dabney.
Markham turns the corner, help defense was there. Kick out Thomas, back of the iron. And a rebound for Stanley, who was inserted back into the lineup. And a hold on Marcicano. 2:46 to go, third quarter, 36-21. Where would Rutgers Prep be without the play of Redden?
I don't know if they'd be in this position right now, that's for sure. But she's been such a force. And like I said, that pass by Dabney out high, that had a little mustard on it. And Gabby shows great hands to catch and to finish, and she does it all in one motion. It's one fluid motion, just maximizing every muscle movement. That's why she's a Division I recruit.
Lucy Thomas out. Alex Pendergrass is back in, the senior bound for Manhattan. So a starting 5 of all college players, and then you bring in somebody destined for the MAC. Depth and talent for St. Rose, but a deficit of 15 on the road here at Rutgers Prep. Redden spins, hesitates. Wow. Totally in control off glass.
That's pretty. I mean, we've seen from Gabby the traditional pivot finishes in the post.
High arcer for Markham, no. Stanley the high rebounds.
You saw her jump shot from distance in the first half. And now that's kind of like Tim Duncan a little bit, away from the block and the high block, maybe elbow, using glass, great cut by Correa.
Tibbet lifted her head after terminating the dribble. Leilana Correa makes it a 19-point game. Tibbet clears the miss. Up ahead Stanley, and now Correa. No good. Offensive rebounds. Lauro reaching in. 1:15 to go. Third quarter, 40-21.
So let me ask you something. We had a pretty cool angle to Correa going to the basket on that miss that we just saw. And she misses the layup, granted. But she has the body control. She's got toes on baseline. She angles her body back and contorts to get at least a square to the rim for an attempt. Great job.
The bigs working together so well. Tibbet to Redden. Finishing with the left hand on the right block.
Tibbet has been a great facilitator here in the third quarter. She's got 2 straight assists, and it's stuff off the elbows. And again, it's movement off of the ball, whether it's Gabby Redden or Leilana Correa, and it's recognition by whoever has the ball out here on the perimeter, whether it's Olivia Dabney or it's Kiara Tibbet. Both of those kids have made great passes to reward people that are doing action off the ball.
St. Rose made a surge, scoring the first 5 points of the quarter, and now Rutgers Prep has answered in a big way. Pendergrass misses the follow. St. Rose basketball. 28 seconds to go. Number 1 against number 2 in our tri-state. South Jersey non-public B semifinal. 2 versus 6 seed in the tournament. With 5 seconds to go, Lauro thought it was the end of the shot clock or the end of the timer because of the student section, and so the 6th man having an impact in this one as Rutgers Prep takes a 42-21 lead into the third quarter. After that early spurt by St. Rose at the end, they've only scored 7 points in that third, while the Argonauts take a 21-point lead into the fourth on News 12 Varsity.
On March 11th, starting at 5 p.m., watch the best of New Jersey high school basketball battle for the right to be called champions, live on Channel 14.
At the buzzer, good!
This doubleheader begins at 5 p.m. with the non-public B finals, followed by the non-public A finals at 7 p.m. Watch the best of New Jersey high school basketball live on the big screen on Optimum Channel, Channel 14.
Fourth quarter underway at Rutgers Prep. Argonauts 8 minutes away from defending their South Jersey non-public B title. Olivia Dabney.
I believe that was Brooke Peichel who gave her that assist. Brooke has gotten some extended minutes here for the Argos. You might know her dad. He is the Rutgers men's head coach.
Markham's got 8, her first points of the second half. Redden begins the fourth on the bench. Peichel picks it up. You were talking about the games I did in New York yesterday, and here in New Jersey, I can't seem to understand why they would put the shot clock in a position where nobody can see it. Am I missing something?
Yeah, you are. You're missing the fact that there is no shot clock in New Jersey.
Tibbet, offensive rebound. It has to be said at least once, right? And the block. Rutgers Prep doing it on both ends.
It's not just blocking shots, it's authoritatively and emphatically blocking shots. The type of shot blocking that makes this entire crew of guys next to us rise to their feet and get so loud because they're juiced and amped by watching somebody make a play like that.
Turned over. Here's Stanley. Peichel driving on the baseline. Pump fake and a long two. Madison Stanley under control. 48-23. Thomas from long range, no. Marcicano after her own miss, and it rattled through. Timeout taken, Joe Whalen. Marcicano with 8, but it's 48-25 in favor of Rutgers Prep with 5:54 to go in the fourth.
Sorry, pal. One of the biggest things that makes Rutgers Prep so darn attractive is that as an opponent, you really are picking your poison. You know, you can't cheat off anybody. You can't sag off anybody. If we want to double on Gabby, then whoever we're going to take to double off, that person who's going to be open is going to make us pay for that. They're all 5 players on the floor, as has been evident here throughout, can sting you, so you have to play them straight up. Now it becomes whether you want to play them in man or you want to play them in zone. That's different. But in terms of any type of gimmick or any type of like a weak link that you think you can lay off of them, there is no weak link. And if you think there's somebody that's a weak link, they're going to make sure you understand by the end of the night, I'm as strong as anybody on the floor.
Rutgers Prep 2 years ago lost in the semifinals this very round on the road at St. Rose, providing motivation for them to win their first ever state championship. They lose in the TOC, and you seem to believe that loss is motivation for the run they're on now.
No doubt about it. When they beat Manasquan at Homedale in the Coach's Choice back in, late January 31st, whatever it was. Speaking of Gabby Redden, you can go back to news12varsity.com and watch the interview with her after that game, where she says emphatically, like, that game that we lost to Manasquan in the TFC last year was an awakening. It reminded us that, you know, we have to bring our A game every night, no matter who we're playing, no matter whether it's in December, January, February, or March. And sometimes you need that little reminder. Unfortunate as it is that it happened in the TFC, no less.
Correa from Dabney gets her own miss, feeds it to Stanley. Even on a miscue, Rutgers Prep getting points. Loro, strong drive.
What I loved on that previous Rutgers Prep bucket, Correa goes to basket, has the shot blocked by Marsicano, is on her rear end, gets the rebound, has the wherewithal to see Madison Stanley, again, doing something off the ball, presenting herself for the opportunity to score.
St. Rose providing pressure defensively. Offensively, Lucy Thomas off glass. Mini 4-0 run or 4-2 run for St. Rose. Not much of a run at all, frankly. Out of the timeout. Redden back on the floor. Backcourt.
So at last report, which was 25 minutes ago, so obviously there's an update since then, but at the half, the Patrick School was leading Holy Spirit 37-28. Winner of this game gets the winner of that game Wednesday night, I believe, at Patterson Kennedy in the North Jersey non-public. Oh, I'm sorry. It would be at Jackson Liberty in the South Jersey non-public B final, which would be Wednesday night. You know what the funny part is? Like, think about it for a minute. Where we're at, we're in Somerset. We're right by Rutgers. The Patrick School is in Elizabeth, South Jersey. Marist is in Jersey City, South Jersey. I think of them as North Jersey schools.
I'm gonna stick to the shot clock issue. I'll leave the gerrymandering to you.
Yeah, and the geography lessons obviously may be lost on a guy from the wrong side of the river here tonight. But
I checked the map before I came. I know what you're talking about.
Hit your GPS. All you got to do
I just remember speaking to coaches when I was learning about the whole geography and saying, you know, this person, especially for football, this team looks like they're central, but they're south, and this team looks north, and they're north too, and they go, don't worry about it.
I tried to, I gave up a long time ago on trying to figure out how they do it.
Redden. She can interrupt even a mundane conversation.
She's getting a great seal no matter where she's catching the ball inside the paint, and then it's just turn and finish.
We talked about the keys early, even if it was simplistic, this idea of Rutgers Prep size against the St. Rose three-point shooting. And while Redden has had her way inside, Purple Roses have not shot well.
No, they haven't. They haven't. And again, I think that's a credit to the speed of the Rutgers Prep man-to-man. Like I said, girls getting out to close out shooters, flashing out, helping when penetration threatens to get to the rim, and just relegating St. Rose to shots that you can tell they're not real comfortable in taking. But it's getting to that point where, I mean, it's probably beyond that point right now with 3.5 minutes to go in the game. But at some point in the second half, when you know that your feet are to the fire, you got to start trying to make things happen. And against a team of this quality, Rutgers Prep will make you pay if those things don't happen for you.
52-29, Mary Klinger wants timeout. There's a notion out there in terms of preparing for this game that the winner of this bracket, the winner of non-public B South and eventually non-public the entire state, would be at least a decent favorite for TOC?
Well, I think, listen, Mary Klinger would, if she hears me and she's only about 20 feet away, she'll come over here and wring my neck.
This is broadcast fodder.
Yeah.
Not for coaches and players.
They would never, they got to get past a very good Patrick School team. Okay, the Patrick School, they played them already once. Patrick School gave them a good game in the fourth. I think the Patrick School was actually leading that game in the fourth quarter when Rutgers Prep then won, I want to say by maybe it was 10 or 11 points. Okay, if it were to go chalk, okay, if Rutgers Prep makes the TFC, I think, in my personal opinion, they are unequivocally the team to beat. They are the number one team. They will have one loss. They will have beaten a St. Rose team that won the Shore Conference tournament. They've beaten a Manasquan team who's the defending four-time Group 2 champion and has been to the TFC the last 3 years. So basically what I'm trying to say is that Rutgers Prep, their resume speaks for itself. They don't need anybody to argue their case. They've made the argument themselves. So yeah, in a roundabout way, they are the team to beat if they make it to that point.
Already 26 wins in a row as part of a 27-1 season. Lost their second game of the year to Franklin in overtime. So they have not been beaten in regulation yet this year.
And avenged that loss against Franklin. Who, by the way, just to give you an idea, playing tonight, right now. They're playing Bridgewater Raritan in the Group 4 North Jersey Section 2 final. So, again, Somerset County has been so good.
Lauro knocks down a 3. 20-point game with 2:40 left.
When I was talking to Mary Klinger before the game, I was saying how I think anybody that follows girls basketball will tell you that the short conference is the measuring stick, just for the depth of the teams that are there and the quality, whether you go to St. Rose or Manasquan or Neptune or RBC or Vianney or Middletown South, Manchester this year. I'm probably forgetting teams because that's how good it is in the short conference. But I've said it from the jump that Somerset County has closed the gap. You've got Rutgers Prep that's evidence of that. You've got Franklin that's evidence of that. Bridgewater Raritan, Somerville, Boundbrook. I love the fact that Somerset County, I love the style of play that they have here. I think the fans appreciate that. I think girls basketball junkies around the state are starting to get wise to the idea of how good Somerset County is. And I think Rutgers Prep takes a lot of pride in being the flag bearers around here of how good they are.
52-32. Dabney got hit in the face, and so timeout taken by Mary Klinger as it happened right in front of her. 2:07 to go, 52-32. Argonauts in position to move on and improve upon their home winning streak, which would extend to 30 with a win tonight. Their last loss occurring over 2 years ago in this building. St. Rose pressuring and committing the foul. Lauren Lithgow, the sophomore who has checked in, sending Brooke Peichel to the line. Offense-defense substitutions here for St. Rose. Front end of a 1-and-1, no good. Markham lets it fly. No good off the iron. Stoll's turn to let it rip, too strong. It was 14-4 after the first quarter. St. Rose cut it to 15 in the third. Otherwise, it's been plays like that for Rutgers Prep. Leilani Correa making the cut to the basket. Markham traveled.
Mary Klinger getting her bench involved now. Olivia Dabney coming out, Brooke Peichel coming out, Gabby Redding coming out. Tells her great job. Might have been the understatement of the night for Mary Klinger telling Gabby Redding great job. They might be bronzing a statue right now somewhere in the back of the school for Gabby Redding after her performance tonight.
She had 20 points, but her presence.
Yeah. I was going to say those 20 points, metaphorically, might have been worth about 45, the way they were scored. Demoralizing in terms of like establishing herself inside. And with each one saying, no matter what you do or how many people you're going to put on my back defensively, you ain't stopping me tonight. Gabby was not shabby, to say the least.
I was going to choose my favorite learnerism for the night. The scab one I thought was pretty solid. The turtle can't hide in the corner. I feel like we're getting a preview of your article during the 32 minutes of the game. So you can reuse whatever line you want. It's not a problem.
I appreciate that, man. I'm glad I have that kind of license. Dude, it's great to have you over here on the New Jersey side. I love watching you work. I love watching you yesterday, listening to you guys, you and Kevin. I think you do a magnificent job. We're very fortunate to have you on the call, this stuff. A pro's pro.
Thanks for keeping a seat open for me. I appreciate it. What a thrill. Number 1 against number 2 as Rutgers Prep is putting the finishing touches on its victory as both teams are going to the bench. End of the road here for St. Rose, the Shore Conference champs, defeating Rumson Fairhaven, Manasquan, St. John Vianney in the process. Rutgers Prep moving on to face either Patrick School or Holy Spirit for the South Jersey non-public B title. 27 wins in a row for the Argonauts. 10 seconds to go. Three on the timer. Rutgers Prep dominant, 54-32. And the Argonauts are moving on to the South Jersey non-public B final. Home winning streak is up to 30. Winning streak on the season up to 27. And the number 1 team in our tri-state poll defends home floor, taking down a very talented St. Rose team in the process. Now beating the Purple Roses in consecutive years in the non-public B playoffs. One final celebration for the team and the fans that came out to support the Argonauts in their final home game of the season. 54-32, the final once again. The Argonauts are moving on News 12 Varsity.
On March 12th, starting at 11 a.m., watch the best of Long Island high school basketball battle for the right to be called champions. Live on Channel 14. This doubleheader begins at 11 a.m. with the Class A Finals, followed by the Class AA Finals at 1:30 p.m. Watch the best of Long Island high school basketball live on the big screen on Optimum Channel, Channel 14.
Number 1 against number 2 in Rutgers Prep on its home floor, convincing victory against St. Rose, advancing in the non-public B South bracket. Gabby Redden is our guest. It was said that your size inside as a team was going to be your advantage. How did you establish that early?
Well, we know where our strong points are, and obviously hitting the inside and hitting up and getting rebounds is very important to us. So just establishing position, that's all we really have to do, just making sure we know where the ball will land on a certain shot, and just basically, using our strength in rebounding to our advantage.
Greg Lerner and I impressed with your post moves and what you were doing inside, but in particular, the one where you pivoted and went off glass and kind of hung in the air there a little bit. Do you remember that play and what was maybe going through your mind as you were feeling the defense?
I just go. I just look. My coach always says, relax in the post. You don't always have to rush. If you get a double team, kick it out, repost, and reestablish. So I just felt, if there were 2 people on me, I built my game over time so I can, step back a little bit, feel where they are, and then put it off the glass.
Greg Lerner was saying after your win over Manasquan, you talked about how much the loss last year motivated you guys. Where do you kind of characterize your motivation now as you're now sensing the end of the year?
It's just, we do this for each other. We don't do it for ourselves. There's no individual pleasure that we're getting out of this. It's all, or satisfaction that we're getting out of this. It's all for my team. It's for Jasmine. It's for Deshawnee. It's for them. I'm not playing for myself. I'm playing for my school. I'm playing for my teammates. That's all it is. So I just give it all for them.
As a singular moment to play the final home game in front of this crowd against this opponent, knowing that it's going to be the end in this building, what was tonight like?
It was just, wow. That kind of hit me like it's my last home game. I just told my teammates, embrace this moment, because it's, especially for the seniors, it's never going to happen again. So just embracing that moment and running with it and just leaving it all on the court, no matter what happens, just leave it all. That's what we did, and that's, honestly, I couldn't have asked for a better last home game with a better group of people in my life. So,
congratulations.
thank you so much.
54-32, an emotional Gabby Redden and company moving on to play in the South Jersey non-public B championship game. What a night, what a moment for the Argonauts as they look to continue their quest to repeat as state champs. For our producer, Josh Noble, my broadcast partner, Greg Lerner, I'm David Resnick. Thanks so much for joining us on News 12 Varsity Game Time.